did it. We're here.
We are here. How are you doing? How's your week going?
It's going okay. Yeah, nothing too crazy. It's hot where we live. Same for you as we're recording this. It's 1,000.
I will tell
So
you, it is super hot where I live because my AC isn't working. So it is literally 81 degrees and 56% humidity in my little home office right now. So
why
super
did you
comfy.
reference humidity? How many conversations do you find yourself in where humidity is a helpful piece of information to share?
John, you also live in North Carolina where it is maybe like a pretty humid state. So it is helpful to know what the humidity is.
Dude, same thermometer.
Uh,
That's pretty funny,
That
actually.
is
That's
actually very funny. How do you also then not know what the humidity is if you've got that thing on your desk?
mine says 79% new high score. I don't want to brag.
That is atrocious. That's like living outdoors. What are you doing?
Uh-huh. I
It's like
well,
higher than it is outdoors.
my office is in a detached garage with all the windows open. I
It's in the
can't get over
jungle.
how we have the same thermometer. That's ridiculous.
Well, you know why? Because it was like $11 on Amazon or something. And
That's
yeah,
probably it. Yeah. Yeah. I don't even remember when or how or why I bought that. I just remember that I bought it. And
same.
here we
Yeah,
are.
it's
That's a
it
little
is.
bit like our topic today of how did we get here? I don't know how I got to that thermometer, let alone how I got into product management. So that's what we're going to be talking more about.
How did we get? What are you, David Byrne?
Yeah,
I might have made that
exactly.
joke before we started the podcast, but that did
Yeah.
make me think of the song. The other thing is, can
Sing the
I just
song.
say while we're talking about this, I don't. Here's my thing: is I don't remember lyrics. I remember like I can like probably stitch together the melody and that sort of thing, but like
Yeah.
lyrics go in one ear out the other. I have no
Yeah.
memory for it.
I can't remember
Yeah,
the song. I'm not going to sing it on the podcast.
it's the
Stay with me.
ABC song.
Stay with me. Anyways, it was a song that like I think I saw it on Saturday Night Live. They were the musical guest or
Oh,
whatever. And
gotcha.
then I was like saying to a friend, I was like, "Hey, have you heard this song? It's good, whatever." And he's like, "Yeah, you know that's about one night stands, right?" And I was like, "No, I had no idea." And I was like singing it in front of my kids or whatever. No,
Just wait
yeah.
till you find out what Blister in the Sun's about, John. That's
Oh my
the
goodness.
you can
Do
sing
do
that
do
to your
do do do.
don't sing that to your kids while CPS is there. I will say, just while we're talking about the thermometers, that I don't ever remember changing the battery on this thing, and we've had it for like years. Like, how
Mm,
long is the battery life on this? What a recommendation for a
yeah.
thermometer. Um,
And our first sponsor, we're happy to announce, is AccuRite for fantastic thermometers. You won't even know you bought it. That's how long the battery
yeah, if you
lasts.
want to sell 0 of these, AccuRite can sponsor us. John, this is getting to market. I did I get rid of the G there? Getting to market. This is getting to market. This is a podcast where we talk about building products, launching them, figuring out how to stay useful along the way. Did you figure out how to stay useful this week to your various stakeholders?
That's a great question. I feel like I have. You and I are working on a project right now, so maybe you be the
Yeah,
judge of that. We're working on a product launch we're pretty excited about. Hopefully, I've been useful to that team. If anything, it's been slight
fair to middling.
reminders.
Fair to
Fair to mid.
middling.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're doing okay. You can
Have
say
you been
that.
useful?
I have notes.
You got notes. I got a
I've
couple
been
ideas.
useful. I will say, with our AC out, it's interesting. Um, I guess this isn't a political podcast. So we don't have to talk about your crazy views on climate change, John. But
Hmm.
um, it has definitely, like, while I've been here, because we did go to a hotel last night and staying there again tonight just because of the heat, affected my productivity while I've been in the office because it is just like so hot. And then you're having to deal with like trying to get an appointment and trying to get that appointment to come sooner because the house keeps getting hotter.
Yep.
So heat does have like a physiological effect, I think, on productivity, which is, I think, a long known fact, I guess, but still relevant somehow to tech workers who just, sit at their desks all day.
We're professionals in this job, product managers, product marketing. We don't know how we got to here. That's what I wanted to talk about. Topic of the day is just the overall career progression into being in product. And some of our listeners are aspiring product managers. Maybe you feel like we're talking you out of it, or aspiring product marketers, or currently doing it, trying to get to the next thing. So I thought it was really interesting. I've seen some stuff on, career progression, or not career progression, but like you can take and get degrees in product management now. I haven't seen necessarily.
Can
Do they
you?
have formal degrees in product marketing? Is that a thing now? Product marketing management, I guess.
Well, I don't keep up with all the stuff maybe that like Phoenix is doing. I haven't seen it, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. I would
Yeah,
caution people against that. I guess would be
that's a
I
little
wouldn't
bit. Yeah,
encourage someone to do it.
yeah.
That seems like a risky thing to do for your college, maybe, but and probably not super fun either. No, I haven't seen that. I'm curious, John. Have you ever mentored someone away from PMM into PM?
I don't think I have. Although I've talked to people that are, there's inbound PMM and outbound PMM, meaning
Yeah,
like, yeah, we don't have to explain that too much. I think some of the inbound PMM orgs feel a lot closer to product management, where really like if you are a PMM org or you're a member of a PMM org that's really inbound, meaning you're really ingesting a lot of what the market's doing, a lot of the trend information, a lot of that, and then helping translate that into what the product needs to do. That's essentially an overlap to product management. And so I don't know that I've moved anyone or kind of tried to convince anyone don't do that job and moved into one, but I have
yeah,
seen some of that just kind of similarities in roles and people moving around. Have you?
yeah. I I haven't moved anybody over. I have seen people. Well, one, I mean, the elephant in the room for I guess what the bulk of this conversation is going to be about, which is there's maybe more money in product marketing than there are in some of the other marketing disciplines, which I think is part of what motivates people over, if we're honest. And
Hmm.
then two, I think there's generally speaking more money in product management than there is in product marketing. So I have seen, though that said, I have seen some folks or worked with some folks that have moved out of product management into product marketing. Um, and
Hmm.
similarly for money reasons, maybe made the move into PM. Um, but probably worked more often with folks that have moved out of PM into PMM because just it is it's a different type of work. I think maybe in terms of
Hmm.
like where you get your energy and how exhausting one or the other might be. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Have you personally ever wanted to make the move?
maybe briefly, not recently. I mean, you do look super old and don't really want to age at your same rate, but
Yep.
um,
Yep.
I, it's funny because when we talked about the politics stuff, we had very different views on that in a way that
Yeah.
maybe describes why I'm less interested in moving into PM than you probably are less interested in moving into PMM. Sort of the stuff that like we find interesting or
Hmm.
energizing around our process is probably different from each
Hmm.
other, and that might drive some of that. But also looking at you as an example, I don't know that I know what good PM looks like. So sometimes I kind of wonder, would I be following a
Sick burn.
would I be following a bad example? No, you're
Yeah.
you're good, John.
Maybe look around. I've
You're
thought about moving just in like there's the evangelist type role, which might be a tech specific role. I don't know if there's are explicitly the evangelist for different things outside of our little
they're called
bubble of an industry.
influencers, but sure, yeah,
Sure. Okay. We're on our way. I
yeah,
think it would be fun to, you find something that you really like. So I'm like a cyclist. I use Garmin stuff. It
sure,
would be really fun to just get to talk about all the different Garmin stuff I do all the time, like which is like more of a marketing type activity.
yeah,
That would
yeah,
be super fun, and I think that'd be pretty cool. Thank you to our second sponsor.
yeah. Yeah, Garmin just lining up at the door to give
Yeah.
us money. One of the things that I think is interesting about career progression stuff is some of it happens in non-intentional ways. Like to what extent, John, did you end up in your current role even that was not necessarily kind of like where you were trying to go or targeting?
100%. Like I think I got here by accident. Honestly,
Yeah.
like I started out. I knew I wanted to do software. That's not even entirely true. I wanted to own a music studio. That was like when I was like 15. That's what I wanted to do.
At
And got,
15, you wanted to own a music studio?
yep. Well, I
Oh,
mean, yeah, I knew I
okay.
wanted to be in the music business, in the music industry.
Mm,
And so this is a story about my life. I talked to a music studio owner, and they said, get into computer science because by the time you graduate, it'll all be digital, nothing analog. And that wasn't, turns out, the best advice, but
yeah.
doesn't matter. It got me into computer science, and I kind of
Okay.
knew even then I've got a mind for business and not a good programmer. I'm just awful at
Hmm.
it, and I got a degree in it by accident. I just had to work really hard, and it didn't totally, it's not my strong suit. Anyways,
What was the
Um,
GPA?
to under 3.0, which is a
Oh,
whole
was
other
it?
story. Yeah, it was like a 2.9. Um,
Okay. By the way,
yeah,
let me just say you would not reveal who you voted for in 2004, but did share your GPA on this podcast. So,
yeah. There's a
yeah.
financial implication
Okay.
to me to not having a GPA. So it's very personal. um, yeah. So, but anyway, so then I knew I wanted to be in software, and that world was interesting, and like obviously. But then from there, I just kind of got here by accident. Like I got into the software business through tech support. I think everyone should work in tech support. Different conversation. And then we needed sales team, and so I moved into the sales team because I could talk tech, and I can talk a little bit. Like I just can even then I could kind of bridge some of that kind of communication gap, I suppose, from like weird techie nerd stuff into like real, I could hold a or kind of translate some of that, I suppose. And then that grew into it just as the company grew. Like, oh, we needed product management, and we didn't know what that meant. And so it was really I kind of like see a need, fill a need, just slotted myself into these different things that we needed to try to do. And product management was one of them. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
this is
All right.
actually kind of nice. So I didn't purposefully like, I'm going to study and I'm going to go to Phoenix and get my degree in product management and go from
Sure.
there. I just kind of happened to fall into it.
I think so. I got into marketing kind of also by accident, was doing more like RFP proposal writing type stuff.
Huh.
And that kind of just moved into writing more stuff for like the website and doing more copy stuff. And then,
Was this in the political world? Like your political
no,
science? Okay. In government or
no,
anything like
no,
that? Okay.
no. No. Just like for a services company.
Oh,
And that was where we made a lot of money, was just on the bulk of our revenue seemed to come more from like contract type work,
hmm.
that went typically out to bid. And then from there, just kind of, I don't know if we talked about this, but like maybe this is a future episode of like what your kind of like superpowers are as an individual in terms of work. I'm probably better at writing than a lot of the other stuff I do. And so being able to like leverage writing skills came in handy for a bunch of marketing type roles, and was able to kind of like leverage those skills to show value with various orgs, and then was able to kind of like carry that into a product marketing role. Had a really good kind of a manager who was a great manager, who was a really good mentor as well. And that was really important to me. I think finding a person, even if I don't even know if he would consider himself a mentor in the role that he was in, but it served that purpose for me. And
Hmm.
because of that, was able to like build a lot of confidence, stay in product marketing. Will I stay here for my whole career? I don't know, but it's enjoyable for the time being. And I think like in terms of the skills you can kind of build to get into product marketing, I think writing is a really good one, especially we
Sure.
talked about AI a number of times on this podcast. I think you and I would both agree on this. Like, AI is really good at making things faster. It isn't always ideal at making things like best.
Hmm.
Um, there's still some amount of like quality control where you can take what AI gives you faster than you could get there to what the AI built, but you can still make it better in ways that are substantial and significant. And I think it is helpful to have a good uh, if you're a good writer, you can probably make that AI output better and still be delivering faster than you would without AI. So I
Hmm.
think like having that writing skill is probably kind of helpful to get into product marketing still, even still with all the
Yeah. Yeah.
development and
Yeah. Yeah.
using AI. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You're not feeling like threatened by it. Like the core skill set is still necessary. The thing that got you
I
into
mean,
it is still a helpful
still a
part.
little threatened by it. Like, who
Sure.
knows? Because somebody's going to come along and be like, how much better does it really need to be? Probably not
Mm-hmm.
that much better. Let's just use AI.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're seeing companies do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so kind of using like writing skills, I think, to kind of make advancements and get into product marketing was probably a critical part of that for me.
Mm-hmm.
How about you? Do you have
Yeah.
any mentors on your path?
Yeah. Mentors for sure. I think some of it was,
They've all
there's a guy
disowned
that
you. They're not
they've,
willing to take your
yeah,
calls.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Probably most of the significant career progression stuff I've been able to do, I can credit to conversations with a mentor or at least
Oh,
someone that I wanted to, and just kind of things that they said through
yeah.
that. So I really love mentors and look up to, or look, I think fondly of the mentors I had, but specific to product and that sort of thing, just be able to talk to people that had some of that capability. Like it's hard to say, here's what a good product manager is with discrete, concrete, salespeople is the easiest. Did you hit your quota? Did you sell? Did you whatever? That's not as akin to product managers, but one of the mentors that I had, that's a skill that I've tried to build and go, is he was always 5 years ahead, just in the way that he thought about stuff. He knew the tech exceedingly well. I mean, he really
Mhm.
just knew the space and knew this stuff really well. But his 5 year ahead thinking of just like, here's where this could go, and here's where this could go, and here's what this other stuff. He was a force to be reckoned with, in that way.
Mm.
He also had a very strong voice on why is this good for the customer. Just that habit is probably the better way of just like,
Mm.
for the customer, for the
Yeah.
customer, for the customer, and things that, yeah, in tough conversations that would always win, and it always ended up being the right thing long term. And so those were, things that they did that I was like, this is a huge part of what we need to do in the role that I've tried to emulate to some extent, or be a big part of, and make sure that that's, happening and what I do. So I've tried to follow that just in as I've, moved through my career, thinking and finding those other people, and then just augmenting different skills. Like, I'm not very good at this thing. How do I go get better at that? Find a mentor, talk to them, that sort of thing. So I've got one now, which is really nice. And those are really good conversations. The one before was in engineering, the head of engineering. And I would talk to them every now and again, and just, how does your world work? What stuff do I need to know? Different things. And that was really, really, really valuable. So yeah, I fell into this role, but I think the growth in it has really been connecting to other people, and just asking about it. What do you got to do? How do I get better at it? And that sort of thing. It's been helpful.
One of the things that is interesting about product marketing, curious to see if it is true of product management as well, is like the I call it doctrines, which is maybe like the most assholey way to describe it, but like what your day to day looks like as a product marketing manager can differ pretty significantly based on the org you're at,
Mm.
and what they prioritize and what they sort of view product marketing's role to be. Have you experienced that? Like, do you have to do some kind of shape shifting to fit the mold of the various orgs you've gone to, or you're putting your foot down and just doing it the John way?
That's a good question. I probably do have a John way of doing it that other people are sick of. There might be some of that. I mean, I've talked about with other people, and even in, kind of, just other product managers. And then you almost have to ask, like, hey, what does that mean for you? Is product manager more like a product owner, where you're just kind of creating stories really like on a 3 month time horizon, or is product management for you this longer time horizon? And so every place seems to have their own little flavor of what that looks like. And
Oh,
here, where we are, is it's a very different type of world. Like, product managers are much larger scope of responsibility, much larger time horizons,
huh.
and less specific kind of feature by feature, and kind of writing stories and that sort of thing. And we've got
Okay.
the support of the product owner team to help that. And so that relationship is a little different here than everywhere. It's probably different in most places.
Yeah.
It has been my thing. So you have to shapeshift.
I hadn't heard of the I kind of like that though, the time horizon thing with POs and PMs.
Hmm.
And that's kind of the difference between the
You
two.
were literally the first person to give positive feedback on that idea. I'm not even kidding. Like, people have been like, that doesn't make any sense at all. I'm like, I don't know how else to describe it. Just honestly, like, people are like,
Yeah.
what's the difference between a PO and a PM and a
Yeah.
project manager too? Because PMs at some
Hmm.
places can be more of a project manager, where you're like, all right,
Yeah.
let's, go through the checklist and that
Oh,
sort of thing. So,
and I'm having real
um,
second thoughts about agreeing with you on this because I do feel like this just dovetails into your like shitting on janitors thing. But
mm-hmm.
yeah. All right.
That's close. Of all the things that's going to give you pause that we've talked about so far, that's the one.
That's the one.
Yeah.
I guess the way we'll maybe close out this topic is this where you kind of see yourself hanging out longer term in terms of I mean, you talked about the evangelist thing a little bit, but is like uh your kids when they're writing your obituaries, it's going to be John the product manager. That's
I
your
hope not.
calling.
I hope not.
He
No,
was a better product manager than a dad.
yeah. Ouch, ouch, ouch. I did just explain salary versus hourly to one of my boys came in here and asked about it. And he's like, so even if you work harder, you don't get any more money? And I was like, that's correct. And you could tell he was like, what? And yeah, it went great. I don't think I'll be in this role my whole career. No. I think part of it is just my own personality. Like, I want to try everything and see what everything is like. And so I think other things would be really interesting and other jobs are really fun. Yeah, so I don't think I'll do this for forever. It's also like I wonder what this job is going to become. It is
Hmm.
it's a relatively new career. I mean, all things
Yeah.
considered. But
Okay,
yeah,
boomer. You're not sure you want to hang with the technology, I guess is what you're saying, huh?
there might be some of that
Can't
too.
keep up.
Can't keep up. I do feel that. Do you think you're going to? You're going to transition to be a product manager. You're seeing the exemplary model that I have been in this and thinking, I'm going to grow out my hair and get
You
there.
know, one of the things that we haven't talked about, or I guess I haven't talked about, maybe you wouldn't care so much, is in different organizations, product marketing can sit either in the product org or it can
Mm,
sit under the marketing umbrella. And that does give you some different perspective, I think, on like what the different roles are and how they prioritize different things. I do sort of wonder, like, as AI advances and people start looking at, not that they haven't already, but like more integrative approach to marketing, what some of those roles might look like, where you're incorporating kind of broader skill sets and AI is helping to speed things up, reduce headcount, what that might look like. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I enjoy a lot of the aspects of product marketing still. I do think both our roles shifting a lot over the next 24 months, probably with AI and
sure.
how we is the sort of tagline of this podcast of how we kind of maintain value within the org. Like, I don't know, it could change pretty drastically, pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So it's something for us both to keep an eye on if we're wanting to continue to pay our mortgages, etc.
That's my existential dread about it, which is a somewhat different topic. But like if the entire value of product management is in maintaining cost, in so much as you're making sure you're building the right thing because building is expensive. Building is no longer as expensive as it used to be because of AI. And so then that decreases the need for someone like me. Like you don't really need to figure out and manage against the time and the dollars and the cents and the whatever because, you know, a team of engineers can build something in 2 weeks, which used to take 6 months. Different topic. I can go down the line on that. What did you learn this week? Other than, yeah,
uh,
John's freaking out.
is so this is not super work related, but and maybe this is a little bit of a hot take that will annoy some people, but
Ooh.
um my thing that I learned this week, and maybe I kind of already knew it, but definitely felt very concrete, is that I maybe like some states more than others. Some states are better than others.
You have a ranking, a top down.
I could definitely put some on the bottom of the list for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
States of
maybe
being, you mean? Just
no, these United States. Um, yeah, I don't know if you feel this way, John. Like you've moved around a little bit. States are different. Like there are different experience. You can have very different experiences based on the state you're in, and
yeah.
it is for very real reasons, like policies and all the stuff that goes into making the state what it is, and the
Mm-hmm.
people that live there, etc. But like,
Hmm.
there's maybe a state that I drove through that was nothing but like traffic and speed cameras, and like that was less fun than getting back to old North Carolina. How about you? What did you learn?
You haven't gotten the ticket in the mail yet either, which is a whole other fun experience that I have had. You're like, whoops a daisy. I was going to share my state experience, and now I feel like I have to. So, I'm a little engineering. I've got that bit of a tilt in a way.
Yeah, you said you're bad at it, but yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
bad at it. So things have a structure, and I like that. So coming from Wisconsin, where everything, major roads, every road is everything's grid and parallel
Yeah.
lines and mile blocks and all that sort of stuff. And then we moved to the mountains, and I'm like, maybe a little budget and city planning would have gone a long way. I'm like, what are you clowns even doing? Because here it's
First of
just a
all, how
real
dare, as a longtime resident of this state, how dare you? But second of
prove
all,
me
yeah,
wrong.
maybe, yeah, maybe. I mean, certainly some of the areas where we've invested in infrastructure lately are not always seen and felt in terms of
Hmm.
road quality and
Yep.
city planning type stuff. But
Yep.
yeah, how about you? What was your lesson learned?
What I learned this week, when we're recording this, the Tour de France is happening, and I'm a cyclist, and I love
Oh my
watching.
God. Yeah,
Are you gonna hang up right now?
no, but I'm going to try to stay awake. Go on.
You're gonna do a great job. I didn't know all the points that could happen and all the different scoring and how that affects the
Is there
strategy.
scoring? There's scoring in the tour. It's not just who
Exactly.
crosses like
Woo. Look who woke up a little bit, Nate.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
did.
there's a whole
Yeah.
thing going on, dude.
Well,
You
first of
can
all,
wear a lot of jerseys.
as a giant cyclist fan, how can you not know that? That's
Well,
like me
that's
being like a giant baseball fan and like, John, did you know that home runs are a thing? I just learned that.
yeah, yeah, maybe that's a part of it. You could say that the thing that I learned is that I wasn't as big of a fan as I thought I
Okay,
was.
there we go. That's a
And I'm
better
getting
lesson
into
learned.
it. You know,
Yeah.
it's been a lot
All
of
right.
fun. I've been watching the highlights of every stage, and it's been good so far. And then I also learned this is less of a thing I learned and more of an opinion I generated. But I think I could do better at being the announcer than the announcers on some of those highlight reels. I'm like, my goodness, those clowns are awful. And I don't even know anything about the sport. There's a couple that times it doesn't matter.
This
Uh,
feels very Dunning-Kruger-esque, where you
mhm.
just don't know all that you don't know, and you would actually do a terrible job at that if you were to tackle it. But
Seems like a
um,
low bar to meet. I could beat that, is what I'm
what,
thinking. But yeah,
as a cyclist fan, what is your hot take on uh, Lance Armstrong? Strongman
um,
Lance.
I don't know that I had a strong opinion. And then I watched the Bill Burr thing on Conan talking about Lance Armstrong. Have you seen this?
No,
Oh, it's great.
us
Yeah,
recapping a YouTube video sounds like great entertainment for everyone
yeah,
listening. But yeah,
yep,
what was the
yeah.
take of it?
I'll just search Bill Burr, Conan, Lance Armstrong, and you'll find it in your favorite search engine. You'll find it. But generally speaking, the damage was low to everybody. He raised a bunch of money for cancer. I'm down on that. And the Bill Burr thing is like, our roided up guy beat your roided up guy, which I think is pretty funny.
I do think
Yeah,
though, like, why not just have a competition of just the guys that are doing the performance enhancing stuff?
that's a thing, a real thing.
Yeah,
My buddy
yeah.
texted me this the other day. It's I can't remember the name of but it's starting in swimming. But there's like a whole like
Okay.
we juice a lot. Come and get some. We're gonna test the limits of human performance or something like that.
Make the money bigger so the incentive is to compete in that.
Yep,
Yeah, why
juice
not?
up, die
Who
young.
cares?
That's why not. But
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah. All right. Well, for more of these types of insights, which you can probably not get anywhere else because they're that dumb, but you can find this new episodes of this podcast every Tuesday, wherever you get your podcast from, as long as it's only like Apple or Spotify,
Hmm.
or I guess those like aggregator ones. But yeah, if you have any feedback too, we'd love to hear it. Um, I think it'd be fun to do a mailbag episode where we take like, the one note we would get from someone like maybe your mom and answer that question.
Yep.
Yeah. Times.
That's the whole point of the podcast.
Yeah.
Helping my mom know what it is I do for a living.
Yeah. Is she any closer? I'm sure she is. She can't be.
We'll let the audience be the judge.
All right. Bye.
Yeah. Good to see you. Bye. Thanks, everybody.